Smash that like button if you guys haven't already, because I don't know why you guys haven't smashed that like button. Come on, man, seriously. All right, let's start off with 2024. Everything is filled out, by the way, because if I had to fill things one by one with you, this video would be at least 30 minutes long, and we're not gonna do that. But in Q4 of Q1 and the delivery days in every quarter in Q4, I put 510,000 in Q1. Not too much of a difference in Q4 because they're always level-headed. Q1 is not really a good quarter for vehicles and automobiles. But nonetheless, I do think it's going to be around the same or a bit more, which I put here 510,000, Q2 of 550,000, Q3 of 585,000, and Q4 reaching over 600,000 in deliveries. Overall, hitting a delivery record number of 2.3 million vehicles in overall in Q4, which is absolutely a sheesh flipping moment. The average selling price does increase slowly because of the Cybertruck and FSD beta coming into China. This will help the average selling price increase slowly. And right now, Tesla is increasing the prices slowly. So if they don't reduce prices, they'll probably at least leave it how it is now, because I would assume that in Q1 or Q2 of 2024, we may start to see some interest rate cuts. And if we see that, we can automatically see some demand coming back, or just natural demand. People who want to buy a car will come back, and overall we'll see more demand, and Tesla will probably need to increase prices because most people lease the car or they finance it, and that's heavily backed by interest rates. If it gets too cheap, Tesla may have to increase it. Or if the demand gets so overwhelming to supplies, then Tesla has to increase prices. That's normal economics. Nonetheless, for that entire year, 44.6 thousand per each vehicle as the average selling price. So that's a sheesh moment right there. Credits will slowly decline, in my opinion. I mean, we should always assume that they're declining every single year and every single quarter. It may not happen because there's a lot of ICE cars that are still getting credits from Tesla, but keeping it conservative and keeping it realistic, really. Keeping it going lower makes sense. Then we've got the services profits, leasing profits. I do expect leasing to slowly explode in Q3 once we see interest rates cut. The vehicle gross profits continues to increase slowly because they get to benefit from economy of scale and increasing prices, as well as FSD beta going in China. Guys, it's a big deal. FSD beta going to China, it's a very big deal. This is going to increase the average selling price for Tesla. This is absolutely a sheesh moment. We got the total GAAP gross profits here increasing quarter by quarter. We got energy. I put here 8.6 billion. I think this will be closer to around 9 billion. But nonetheless, look at the profits. Almost 60 to 70% increase from 2023. Now, I do think it's going to be more, especially in Q2, when Megapack factory in China gets ready to export Megapacks. So it's going to be a sheesh moment indeed. Operating cost is pretty high because of the Cybertruck and ramping and trying to get the production up and running and all that stuff. Taxes, I left it standard of 250 million every single quarter. Other income like interests starting Q3 because interest rates do go lower, and so putting your money in bonds or even a high savings account, they do give less. So I am reducing it quarter by quarter starting Q3. But the important part is the operating margin, 7.7% to 8.2% to 8.6% to 9%. Absolutely a sheesh moment. Total revenue for 2024 is going to be around a bit over $125 billion. Net income non-GAAP over $13 billion. So really about $2 billion more from 2023, but we are still recovering and getting the stage ready and set up for 2025, because I do think 2025 is going to be a really good year for Tesla. 2024 is going to be a great year for Tesla as well, but 2025 is going to be a bigger year for Tesla, and we'll see in just a bit. But for the total net income gap, however, we have 11.3 billion. So again, that's about 2 billion more from Q3, but nonetheless, this is a good way. The company is growing from almost 100 billion in revenue to 25% growth in 2024, and that is more of a recovery year in my opinion. If there's any recession we're going to get that's definite, it's probably going to be the first half of 2024, where the Fed probably has to start cutting rates more aggressively. Total opposite of what happened in 2023. Or I could just be completely wrong and nothing happens in 2024. Who knows? At this point, nobody knows what's going to happen. We can just go based on day to day to see what's going on, what happened. Just 3 weeks ago, people thought interest rates are going to stay high for a lot longer. Now they're saying it's going to be cut in 2024. So really, it's a day-to-day thing. It's a lot of emotions into it. The data changes all the time. So we got to go take it step by step. That's what I think, though. I do think 2024, we may see some sort of slowdown, recession in the first half of 2024, and then we'll see some price cuts happening. Canada is already thinking about doing the first price cut in April. So that should tell you something. Shares outstanding, I do dilute it every single quarter. I'm not going to assume there's not going to be any buybacks whatsoever. We have EPS non-GAAP of $3.72. So that's up from $3.20 until end of 2023. EPS gap, which I do go based on to get the stock prices by end of 2024, is $3.20. So really, the non-gap of 2023 will be the gap of 2024. Very interesting. Now, stock prices for 2024. Now, in Q1 of 2024, I do think that 100p is going to stay because, again, if they report 7.7%, that means 100% now margins have bottomed. And now Cybertruck is coming. FSD beta China is happening. So many, just 2024 is the year where BP and EG signed a contract with Tesla to get their superchargers, which will be 100 million. Now, of course, what is it right now? In 2024, we have $125.1 billion in revenue. This probably could be around 125 point, maybe 3. So, and it's at cost. So really, it's not that really interesting when it comes to moving the needle here. However, though, this would really help future cash flows because this would be on a royalty basis, I assume. Nonetheless, that's a fiscal EPS of $2.63 gap of Q1 2024, keeping that 100 PE around the 260s. I do think that's going to happen. In Q2, however, 8.2 operating margin. That's in flippin' insane. If we keep it 100 PE, that's still around the 260s, and I don't doubt that. But it's hard to see it not go higher than 100 PE. It really is hard to see it. I do think there's going to be a lot of good information. I do think we're going to be in a bull market. And companies like Tesla is going to benefit a lot in a bull market. I mean, in a bear market, we saw Tesla trading as low as a 40 PE, which is absolutely ridiculous. 100 PE for Q2 2024, I do think that is the average. Call me crazy, man, but I do think that's the average. We could probably go as high as 120, around 315 or 110, but I'm going to keep it at 100p of 262. In Q3, however, that's where we see an uptick in EPS on a fiscal basis. We're going back to $3 now, which is absolutely crazy, and I do think the PE will follow that as well to 115. That's a stock price of $337 per share. That's a market cap just hitting above $1.1 trillion. Now again, could this happen? I do think this could happen, and this is why I am begging right now for the stock to be below 200. It just doesn't make any sense. If there's a time for the stock to be below 200, it will be now, before all these good news come and hits it. And when these good news comes and hits it, we're going to be in a bull market. Good news and positive news is going to take more effect into Tesla than any bad news that's going to come out, even that's regarding Elon or not. So that's what I'm saying. Please, let us stay 200 for the next another 3-4 weeks. In Q4, 9% operating margin, and EPS is at $3.20. So it's going up again. Trajectory is looking good. Interest rates is being cut. We have average selling prices going up. We see Cybertrucks coming out. It's going to be a wonderful year next year around this time. Mark my words. It's going to be a wonderful year, and I'm going to say a P of 110. That's a stock price of $350 per share, which is my price target. And yes, I did it specifically this way too. So call me biased, whatever it is, but I do think my price target by 2024 of 350 is realistic. Some of you guys will call me a bear. No, man, it should be around like 400. Well, that's about a PE of maybe 125, which, yeah, I mean, if you include FSD future cash flows, 100%, I mean, in that case should be around 150, around 500, maybe even more than that. But 350, PE of 110, I think the price target of 350 does make sense, and I do think there's merit to it. So that's 2024.